Let me know when you're good.
Okay, click the got it. I think we're good.
Okay, we should be up and running. So, Todd, much appreciated, man, for hopping on, no pun intended, but another program hopper show.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I listened to the first couple episodes, and then kind of read back in the Facebook group about the whole idea, and I was like, yep, that is me to a T. I mean, actually, when I rejoined Linchpin, there wasn't about, I'm a chronic program hopper, or I
That
have been through my CrossFit life, but I'm, happy to be back. So,
that's awesome. Did I see you t does it say New York on that cup?
um, it does say New York on this cup. I'm actually from Maryland.
Oh, okay.
We're in Frederick, Maryland, out kind of in the DMB area, I guess you would call it,
Gotcha.
Central
Okay.
Maryland. So
Maryland and Delaware, a couple states that just don't get the respect they deserve on the East Coast.
yeah, yeah, I guess so. I mean,
So you in your email said you've been doing CrossFit for a while, man. You said since back in 2012.
yep, yep.
What, give me a little bit of a pre-2012. Were you into fitness or what was happening pre-2012 and then what led you to CrossFit at that year?
Yeah, yeah. So I got into the whole fitness weightlifting thing back probably about in sixth or seventh grade. So this would have been 2004, 2005, sometime in there. The main reason was for like football and various other, kind of scholastic athletic pursuits, I guess you could say.
Gotcha.
And truthfully, it was a pretty good introduction because for whatever reason, I feel like the football coaches at my school were a little bit ahead of the curve with, their ideas for strength and conditioning. I think they, over the years, had, brought in a few different maybe strength coaches or, did some seminars and things like this. And we basically I followed their program to a T from the time I was in probably end of sixth grade, seventh grade through when I graduated high school.
Oh,
And it
that's
was
cool.
it was 3 days a week. Um, all the basics really. We did squats, deadlifts, bench. We did power cleans.
That's
The
incredible.
old yeah, the old school weight room even had a set of bumper plates, one pair of 45-pound plates.
45s or
So
nothing.
we did power cleans, pull up. We did kind of all those, a lot of functional movements really.
Man, that's
And
great.
I feel
I
like
do
I
a lot of these
learned.
interviews. I don't hear that too often.
Yeah, it was truthfully it was a pretty good introduction. Like I felt like looking back, I was coached pretty well as far as uh how to squat, uh how to deadlift, those types of moves. Now it wasn't anything, I think we did back squats,
Sure.
no front squats, no overhead, nothing like this. But yeah, I mean, I followed that program pretty much through high school.
Okay.
Um, and I graduated high school in 2011. Went to college, and that was really the first time. So you think up to that point, I kind of had somebody basically telling me what to do, the whole way through. And I should add in too, I was kind of one of the weirdos that just I loved the weight room.
That's cool.
You know,
Okay.
I was a very average at best out of athletic,
But loved it.
but I love the weight room. I just I don't know, for whatever reason I was like,
What was it everything or did you prefer the squat, the dead, the bench, the power clean?
it was just everything. Like I don't know. We would get up
Good
early
for
before
you, man.
school. It would I think there was something of like, this is going to be my way to kind of make up for my athletic deficiencies.
No, but hey, you got
I
a heck
kind of
of an
try and build myself
introduction,
up in the weight
man.
room.
I mean,
But
I wish I started squatting and deadlifting when I was in sixth or seventh grade. That'd be phenomenal.
yeah, it was yeah, it was a pretty cool introduction looking back on it, you know. And it got me in love with fitness, really.
And so then you finished high school, you said in 2011, and headed off to college. That's around the year you said that you started dabbling in CrossFit. What was that? What brought that to
Yep.
your attention?
Yep. And so at that point, that was kind of the first time where uh I don't really know exactly what to do to work out now because I don't have a football
Gotcha.
program that I'm following. And so okay, I'll maybe I'll run a little bit. It was I probably dabbled in kind of some of the bodybuilding stuff a little bit. Okay, I'll run a little bit. Maybe I'll do chest one day. I'll do legs another day.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for probably 6, 10 months. And one of my buddies at college, he I can't remember exactly how he pitched it to me, but he was like, "Hey, there's this kind of like everybody, right? It's like, hey, there's this CrossFit thing."
Yeah.
I found this thing on the internet. It's this CrossFit thing. They have a website and they have a WOD. They put up a WOD every day, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just kind of started doing it. It was, uh, I remember the college weight room was very much not set up for, for CrossFit
Right.
to be done. So I just remember we would, as a matter of fact, they did have an Olympic lifting platform that nobody touched.
Okay.
It just sat in the corner collecting dust, and we
Mm-hmm.
we would come on there and try and learn the learn how to snatch and this is we would watch YouTube videos or my buddy got the like the original Supple Leopard book, the Kelly
Okay.
Starrett
Yeah.
book,
Yep.
and he'd be like, okay, here's what we gotta do, to be able to overhead squat, we gotta do this, we gotta do that, we just kind of dabbled with it, um and I kind of just fell in love with it. He and I just, there was no actual affiliate anywhere near there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and we would just do CrossFit in the college weight room.
Did you stick with CrossFit with your buddy through college, or did you, have highs and lows and
Yeah, so through college. So from that point, I stuck through CrossFit probably uh pretty consistently for through college and then even into the next year or two after. Into college, we basically followed main site a lot. And then, as the years progressed, I think, uh 2012, 13, 14, like into there started, I don't think there were many online like program offerings, but
I
there
don't
were like
think
some
so around
like kind
then.
of like blogs that started like
Yeah,
popping up of like, all the big, names of what they were doing
sure.
and whatever. And so we, so then we just started going crazy on like, 10 workouts a day,
Sampling
whatever it
this,
was.
sampling that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We'd do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and so yeah, it was fun. Yes, I did that for through college. When I finished college, I started working, got a job, and moved to an area that had a gym, had a box.
Okay.
So I joined a box, was there for a little while. The classic strength plus metcon, you know,
Isn't that
uh,
funny? I mean, it's funny that now
combo. Yep.
you're totally right. That is now referred to as the classic, but it's actually like not the classic.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah,
funny, but you're totally right. Like that is, that is the current mindset.
yeah. Just about almost any gym that I mean, in my, I've obviously haven't seen a million gyms or anything, but the ones I've seen, it's kind of, strength plus metcon. So, I did that for a while, and Then I started doing jujitsu.
Oh, very cool.
So a buddy of mine introduced me to jujitsu, and uh, so I've been doing that for um, I've been doing that for probably almost 10 years at this point. And um, so kind of since then, it's been a little bit of figuring out how to do CrossFit, with jujitsu, and that's changed a little bit as the years of, it's not, I'm 31, so, but when I started doing that, I was probably like, I was like 21, so I would do a bunch of CrossFit, a bunch of jujitsu, just all the
What
time.
what's your
Um,
what's your rank in jujitsu for anyone who's listening and also does it?
I'm a brown belt. Yep. Yep.
Oh, very cool, man. And what
Yep.
what have you found works for you right now? You've also got a family, right? I mean, so
Yep.
got
Yep.
family, job, want to do some CrossFit, want to do some jujitsu. How many days a week of jujitsu and how many days a week of CrossFit work for you?
So right, right now at this time, I do jujitsu um about 2 days a week.
Okay.
Um, and then, and then I do Linchpin probably um a minimum of three, sometimes five, probably closer to all 5 days usually. It kind of depends on the week, but jiu-jitsu is tricky because you're very much tied to the you got to have training partners, and
Hmm.
when the gym is specifically open, and and all those different things, which has become much more tricky as as we start to have kids, and all that kind of stuff. I work I'm a fireman for by for my job. So um like before my kids were born, even um basically I work one day on, 2 days off.
Okay.
So before my kids were born, I was still doing just a lot of CrossFit and a lot of jujitsu.
Sure. Right.
Because
Right.
I just on my off
You
days, whatever
could.
whatever the case has been. But it's been a little bit less volume as over the last probably 3 or 4 years. Um, Combination of just getting older. My oldest son's 3. I got a 3-year old and a 1-year old. Um, and just the different life stuff. But yeah.
And what have you found with anywhere from 3 to 5 days of linchpin and a couple days of jujitsu and a job and a kid? Like when you're working out, are you listening to your body? Is every day a burn it down sort of day? Like at this phase in life at 31, what's the balance that's currently working for you?
So currently, I most of my days are not that intense, just because I feel like a lot of the stuff doesn't. So basically, I'm in my head. I'm always thinking about, okay, like where's my sleep at? Um, how many days? We look ahead. My wife, we'll look ahead and kind of plan our week or whatever, and I'll see, okay, how many days am I going to go to jiu-jitsu this week? If it's if it's one day, then I'll make sure I have at least one day in linchpin where I'm kind of pushing it
Hmm.
harder. But if it's two, or even 3, I don't really get there that many more than like 3 days a week. But if it's like 3 or whatever, I will I'll push it a lot less on the Metcon side of things. And a big piece of that is like the sleep too, because like with my kids
That was going to be my next question. Could you
and
see
my
if
job,
I
it's
have to assume it's broken sleep?
yep, yep.
And so
Um,
what do you do? Just I'm tired. Oh well, no one cares. Still work out. I mean, what's the remedy for that? Or what works for you?
so I pretty much, yeah. So just um, pretty much uh my jujitsu school that I go to, they have 6 a.m. classes. So what I'll do is when I get off shift, I can usually get out of there by about 5:45 or so. I'll go over go over to class, you know, do the class or train from 6 to 7. I do that about, about 2 days a week. And that's just kind of become part of my routine. Even if I had a long night at work, I just still go.
Okay.
And then I usually, I usually just, unless maybe I had a terrible night of sleep at work, or, jujitsu was like unusually difficult. Maybe I'll, take a rest. But I typically do the workout, and what I do, like I think, uh, matured in my perspective on fitness in this way, over the years. Like I'll just, I'll do it scaled. I used to never do
Right.
anything scaled.
Good for you, man. I'm
I'll
sure you
just,
don't feel shortchanged.
yeah, I'll do it scaled. I'll turn the clock off. you know I'll do less weight, like even if it's a heavy day, I'll do a little bit lighter than, because if you're really thinking about it, I'll be like, yep, this is heavy enough for today. It's good, it's good enough. And I'll
Of
just
course,
move
maybe
on.
there's not a typical night, but over the course of a typical night, I don't know how many hours you're in bed at the firehouse, but can you expect to get up once? Can you expect to get up three times? Is it once in a blue moon? You're like, oh my goodness, we didn't get up at all. Like what's for somebody like me who's a civilian, what's a normal night, an average night?
At my firehouse, it's, you know um you can, I would say, maybe you're expecting to be up maybe 1 to 3 times, like in that range.
Okay.
That's probably about, the average. There's
But
some nights.
you're not going to be up one to
Yeah.
three times for 15 minutes, right? You're going to be out and out for a
Well,
while.
right. Now there's some nights where we sleep through, and then there's some nights where it's just, you just okay, you don't even lay down. So,
Oh
most
man.
most nights, you get a couple chunks in there, and it's maybe broken up once or twice, but
Preparing you for having two kids.
exactly, yeah.
From going out and going on calls, right, of all sorts of different things. And from my understanding, while the image of a firefighter might be that every call is a towering inferno of a 30-story building, that there's actually quite a lot of calls that are just health or sickness related.
Yep.
Um, you're
Most of
on,
them.
I was
Most
gonna
of
say
them.
you're on the streets. So what's your just, not you're not speaking for the fire department, but just your opinion of from what you see of how's the good old US of A doing in its health and physical capacity?
Um, so, the people, I think, that we generally run into on a regular basis, probably the average of those people, on the medical side of things, it's not good at all, really. I mean, it's
Is there a majority? Is it old people falling? Is it heavy set people, had a heart condition or skinny person like heart conditions? Like, is there, yeah, I'm sure you see the whole gamut, but if from what you've taken in, you're like, man, if I had to summarize it, you and I together were in an elevator for 30 seconds and I'm like, hey, what's going on? What's the quick elevator pitch? What's happening on the streets out there?
I think it's just, it's it'd be hard to summarize in one thing, but it's just people not taking care of themselves, really. You have a lot of people uh, that are overweight. You have a lot of people that are on a lot of medications, like a lot.
Mm,
Like we'll try and, write them down for the form, that we give to the ambulance, or whatever, or that they'll give to the hospital. And it's it's hard to write them all down. write
that's
them all down a
crazy.
lot of times, because there's a lot. So there's a lot of medications. There's a lot of obesity. Um, I think, uh,
So it would capture your attention if you showed up on scene and you were talking to somebody north of 40 or north of 50 years old and you asked them what medications you're on and they said, I'm not on any. You'd be like, well, that's unusual.
oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. But if you think about it too, somebody who's not on any, and who doesn't have any, has a minimal kind of medical history or something, they're not really likely to going to be calling 911. I mean, if
Mhm.
there's like a, legitimate, emergency. But a lot of people not that it's not legitimate emergencies, but there's a lot of 911 calls that are, um, uh, I guess maybe might surprise you, or whatever, what
I'm
people do or
sure.
don't call for. But
But you say you feel like most of your calls you said are from individuals basically needing health services or ambulance services or something like that.
a lot of that, a lot of that, a lot of that,
Wow,
yeah.
that's
But it's
pretty
a lot of
wild.
everything. It's EMS calls like that, car accidents, fire alarms, but all just a whole, all kinds of stuff really. But
And what's the vibe? I mean, I guess I would assume each firehouse has a different vibe. Do you have a maybe old, young people in the crew, older people in the crew, some people taking their fitness seriously, some people not? Like, is what's the vibe in your firehouse for health and fitness?
well, so in my experience, the nice thing about uh, a firehouse is like you could. So I'm kind of like people kind of see kind of how you are and kind of like what you do and stuff like that. So, well, you work out some and you eat good, and then all of a sudden you become kind of the resident like uh fitness guy
Contact.
and nutritionist.
Nice.
So like um it's pretty good. We have a handful of younger guys on my shift, and it's fun. Uh we just do CrossFit workouts, usually a Linchpin style workout, or depending on how it
That's
fits for the
pretty
week,
awesome.
a kind of a group style workout. And yeah, most of the guys jump in. And if I'm cooking that day, then we can eat uh some sweet potatoes and chicken, and it's pretty
That
good.
was going to be my next question. Is life in the firehouse from what we see as civilians, where it's, one night so and so's cooking for everybody, the next night so and so is that, are you cooking for the big group? Are you kind of peer pressuring to eating whatever's made that night? Do you bring your own stuff and you're the weird guy? I mean, what's happening?
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? I my perspective is I've always felt like it's important to eat with the crew, because if you're
Hmm.
if you're coming in there, because so we eat lunch and dinner together. So, if you come in there with your Tupperware and
Right.
and all your stuff, you're gonna be the weirdo. So um I try and have I try and kind of help, ensure that we're kind of, and the other guys on my shift too, are generally pretty uh mindful shift as far as eating for the most part. So
That's
we'll
cool.
try and cook good food, but it's similar to, I think I've kind of heard you talk about this some, right? It's like, hey, like in the evening, like at dinner time, I'm gonna kind of eat whatever my family eats, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of the same at the firehouse. Oh,
Yep.
if it's Friday at the firehouse and we're having pizza, I mean, you know, I'm gonna eat pizza and
Hmm.
whatever, good to go. I'm not. That doesn't mean I need to eat 12 pieces and 10 cookies, and whatever, But it's I do I bring extra stuff too. I'm just easy. I'll bring some apples, some bananas,
Hmm.
some deli
That's
meat.
smart.
Um, you know, but
Is there a police and firefighter rivalry?
um, I think, there is. It is funny. I do trade with a lot of the uh a lot of jujitsu with some of the cops in their area, so it's kind of fun.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good way to. Okay, so I guess circling back to fitness, you post college, you're working out, you're the firefighter now, you're doing stuff on your own. Just give me a brief little scope of, when you felt that you resonated with the term program hopper, walk us through that a little bit. And I guess what brought you
Yep.
back to Linchpin?
Yeah. So I've never really strayed too much from CrossFit. Some people are, okay, they did CrossFit, then powerlifting, then this or that. For me, ever since I started doing CrossFit, it's pretty much been CrossFit, for the most part. Uh, the and then it's, once I started jiu-jitsu, it was playing around with, okay, well, how do I do CrossFit and jiu-jitsu? But I
Mm,
still, for fitness, it was still always CrossFit. The yeah, the thing for me has always been it's like shiny object syndrome, right? It's like there are and more is I don't remember when I saw the first, maybe 2015, 2016 ish, maybe some,
Yeah.
programs were starting to pop up that you could do. And, I would join one and I'd do it for a little bit. And then maybe I wouldn't have the piece of equipment that they were using all the time or whatever. And then, oh, this one is, minimal equipment. Okay, I'm going to go do that one. And then I would get tired of doing minimal equipment and then be, oh, this one is for firefighters. Okay, I'm going to do that one. And,
Oh, there you go. Yeah, like
and then, oh,
the,
this one is
the
for
marketing. That's good marketing.
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, this one is for, it's just and I always knew in the back of my mind, right? I always knew I'm like, you know what? I would be instead of trying to find this better program, I would probably just be better off sticking to one
How
for a
many
length
different
of
ones do
time.
you think you've explored?
How many do so it hasn't been a crazy, you know, number. What it's been more is uh circling back between the same,
Hmm.
I don't know, five
Okay.
or six
That's a legit number.
or something, and I do one for a little bit, or I do one long enough to get the free trial, or whatever.
Did you ever
Um,
follow multiple at the same time?
um, I was probably I had been subscribed to more than one at the
Okay.
same time, but I haven't like mixed and matched.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay,
But
okay.
you know, you know.
No, I mean, there's plenty of shiny objects out there. So I guess out of curiosity, from all those different experiences, you had a decent exposure, what circled you back to us?
Um, Probably a couple things. One, I've resonated with your kind of approach to it for a long time. I mean, I was looking at, I think when you first started posting like the Monster Mash,
Oh yeah.
like I would do those, and so I kind of like resonated with your approach to CrossFit and particularly right the one workout and not the strength plus metcon. I resonated with that a lot. Um, and just like uh, over the last year or two, or probably since my kids have been born, maybe even is like just where you've been your approach. Because I think maybe your daughter was born a little bit before my son,
Yeah, my
or
daughter's
a
just
little bit
over
after.
three.
I forget, but I remember listening to some of the podcasts.
Yeah, if you've got a
Fitness in
three-year-old, yeah,
with a
my
young
daughter's just
kid,
over
and
three.
yeah, yep, and all this. I just resonated with a lot of that of, uh, hey, you can, um, maybe you only work out 4 times this week. Maybe you start the workout and your kid wakes up from nap early. Uh, maybe maybe I'm at the firehouse and I don't have all the equipment that I need, so I'm just going to do limited equipment option. And hey, fitness was still achieved. And I'm like, that's
100%.
you know
100%. It's got to be
that's it.
sustainable, man. I mean, you got to be, I mean,
And
life does not care about your schedule.
yep, yep. And by the way, the other thing too is like seeing you with CrossFit, like because you've been doing CrossFit for what, maybe 20 years.
Been a bit, yeah, oh 05, yeah, so coming up on 20.
And to me, that's like proof is in the pudding right there, because I think recently, I don't know if you would agree with this or not, but I feel like there's a lot of not maybe not a lot, but talk in the fitness space of uh oh, you do CrossFit for a long time, you get injured, you'll
Hmm.
it'll burn you out, it's not good for longevity. It's there's a better way. There's I don't know. I feel like I've seen
I think you're right. I think
a lot of stuff like that.
there's
So
a
I see
lot of,
you who's been in it for a long period of time. You had your hip replacement, right?
yes,
Or
sir. Yeah, yeah.
and still doing it, recover, and to me, and that speaks volumes too. I'm like, you know what? I think this is the way to do it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people out there just, clamoring for market share, so they have to be provocative or, counter something, or this is dumb, or you're gonna get hurt. Like there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that out there. And I do think, I mean, my only allegiance to CrossFit is that it works.
Yep.
You know, if something worked better, I don't want to waste my time. I
Yep.
would do the other thing. Like, Pierre, I don't have a lot of time. Like, I want the most bang for my buck, but that's what's kept me here.
Yep.
And I think what, like those, oh, you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. I think a critical part of that is just having that removal of ego, that knowledge of self, and that understanding of like what phase in your life are you in, because you could be doing CrossFit at 25 and 55. It could be the same five workouts each week. It's going to depend. That 25-year-old's probably going to be able to burn it down every day, and the 55-year-old's probably not, and so there's this modulating of intensity piece. And
Yep.
if after 5 decades on this planet you tweaked your knee skiing, but due to ego, you felt like you always had to do something prescribed, but it hurt your knee. Well, then that eventually could have taken you out of the game. And then it's, well, CrossFit hurt my knee. Well, it's like, well, did it? Or could you have made a better decision based upon what you have going on, trained around it, heaven forbid, not done the quote unquote prescribed workout, and you'd still be training today. So I think there's that evolution that occurs. And I think the folks that understand the evolution, and are open-minded to it, and honestly assessing where they are and what phase of life they're in. I mean, I don't see any, I still plan on doing this style of training for the rest of my life. It will modify and evolve with every decade of my life. But until I find something more effective, this is what I'm going to be doing.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Me too. Me too. And I think, um, I, yeah, I mean, when I first started doing CrossFit, there were plenty of days where I trained very dumb, I'm sure.
Me too. Me
Learned
too.
way too much volume, trying to learn how to do muscle ups. I actually
Oh
had
yeah.
I when I first got rings, I know we got to go to them. I actually I didn't know where to put them. I put them in a tree in my
Awesome.
backyard, and it was a dead tree branch that immediately broke and fell. That immediately broke and
Oh,
fell on me, and I almost killed myself doing that. But generally speaking, right? I've been 14 or 15 years in CrossFit. Yeah, and um, it's been great.
well,
Knock
what
on
a
wood,
nice
I
fit
feel
for your
great doing it.
job as a first responder. I mean, you're really using your body.
Yeah, yeah, and to me, it's like the pure CrossFit methodology checks. To me, it's like sustainable. It covered, it helps me. I feel do what I need to do for work, keeps my body, resilient for jujitsu. And then just for my family, right? Like anybody who wants to, play with their kids and do this for a long time. And you're right. I mean, it's a good it's a good program.
But I know that you said one or both of your kids are napping right now.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
How much, I mean, it's very kind of you to give me some of your nap time, because children's nap time is a precious hour. It's some precious free time during the day. How much longer are they going to nap, you think?
I think I got probably like 20 minutes until it's wake up
Let's
time.
go time. Well,
It's always
hey,
a little hit or miss, but
Todd, I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate you sharing your story. I appreciate you as a first responder and out there just on the front lines doing it. I mean, I truly mean that. Um, and thanks for being a part of Linchpin, man.
yeah. Yeah, well thank you, and thanks for what you do, and programming the workouts and sharing the content that you do, and it's all been immensely helpful to me over the years, really. So
That makes me happy. Well, stay safe out there, and I will see you online.
sounds good.